How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this webinar. I think some people might be joining in a few moments. If you're here, go ahead and say where you're at in the chat. Love to have you. Thank you for being here. We're going to jump in really soon, everyone. So I'll probably wait for like maybe another 30 seconds. And then we're going to go right into it. So you know what? I see some people are in here already, the numbers. So let's jump in. Like, it's ready right at 1 o'clock. This is only 30 minutes before I end the stream. And I do want to give some time if you have a Q&A or if you have some questions. And also I want to share like my Calendly link with you guys so that you can book a time with me afterwards, so we can maybe do that. If that's something that you want to do, if that's something that you see like, oh, I wanted to ask maybe some more questions and we run out of time. So before we get started, I'll do a quick intro. My name is Bart. I'm a digital marketer in Toronto. I run a digital marketing agency, just started a podcast, doing some YouTube. So I'm doing a lot of stuff. This is my full-time gig. I help businesses make more money online. That's basically what I do. I'm also locked up in quarantine. This is the dining room right here. I have a wife, daughter, and a son. So you might hear them running around. We don't know where they are in the house right now. We're going to try to keep things quiet and move things along. Since we don't have a lot of time, we'll jump right in. So for this topic this month, the last couple of months, we've been talking about different aspects of marketing for personal or growing businesses and startups. This one is more for the personal brands and for people that have businesses that have blogs. Not every business has a blog. You probably need one, but that's a topic for another day. But having an SEO optimized blog post in WordPress is a must-do if you want to earn rankings or try to get new target traffic or nabbing some blog ROIs. After all, you spent all this time writing wonderful piece of content. You need to give it legs for it to stand on. Without SEO, you're going to put your blog at a disadvantage to even start. So you might as well, especially if you're using WordPress, there are some tools that are very, very easy at your disposal, plugins that you can install, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. You just need to know that in the next 30 minutes, we're going to talk about 8 different checklist items you can easily do. Extra minutes are going to add lots and lots and lots of return on your investment. So there is a caveat, okay? If you're just starting out with writing blog posts, then you need to understand this one thing. Choosing topics willy-nilly is probably the easiest way for you not to be noticed online. If this is something that you want to take serious in terms of having a vertical in your business that is generated by content that's on your blog post or your personal brand, you need to treat your blog post as a search result. What are people going to be looking for, and which items are you able to rank for? Which items are you able to get the most? Which items are you able to get the most results by speaking to that? If someone's looking for which running shoes are going to be good for running, and you have a blog post that's about running, but it's not identified well, then you're not going to do well. Or if you have a sports or wellness blog and you talk about running, but you don't have a blog specifically on running, how will they know? Those things have to match, and that's like a prerequisite before we even get started with anything else, that you're going to want your content to match what people are already looking for, and you have to find a unique enough one where you can rank the highest to get on that #1 page, which a lot of people want to do. So that's a whole other thing called SEO marketing. What I'm going to be talking about today is more about just the basic things to start getting traffic automated on your SEO that can lead to you being ranked #1. there is a lot more that you can do that's more technical, and that starts even before you start writing your content. So the first thing you got to understand is how search is generated and how your results are generated. And the second thing is you got to have good content to start with. If you have good content and you present yourself as an authority in a certain topic, then you're going to be the person who will be able to garner the most views over time, because you'll have that sustained trust and authority. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's go to the first item on the list. Number one is very simple. It's very basic, but you must edit and proofread your blog post. And that's like for typos, grammar mistakes, those things can be avoided, and so you should avoid them. Whether it takes you reading it over multiple times, if that's not your jam, it's not my jam. That's not something that I excel at, that I'm good at. So that's something that I make sure I use. That's something that I use Grammarly for. Or maybe you want to ask somebody. If you want to ask somebody for some help, that's going to be something that's going to be really good to help you get the results that you want. You're going to really deter people if you don't have the right language in there. And if you're making silly mistakes, you're not looking like somebody who can be trusted, or look like somebody who can easily be trusted with their business, or for the topics, or for secondary and tertiary topics. So that's like number one. If you write something, be knowledgeable. Don't make silly mistakes. Do something that can easily be edited and proofread, all that stuff. Number two, add relevant images to your blog. After editing, it's time to add and optimize your relevant images. If you're working from a draft, you should be able to add them in WordPress without a problem. Just place your cursor where you want to, and you can add them in there. Drag it right into the editor. And for all of these tips that I'm offering, I want you guys to do the most of your editing inside of WordPress itself. That's the best place and the best way for you to do this. And WordPress actually has some built-in functionality that will talk in with your formatting and your spacing. That's going to help your SERP and your Google metadata read it all, so that you're actually getting the best results that you can. But in terms of your images, okay, you have to make sure that they're inserted correctly, like I just said. Put it specifically between paragraphs, centered. Some blog templates are full width, some are, have more spacing. You want to make sure that it's put in the correct space. Number two, you want to make sure that the right size, so that they're showing up crisp and not crunchy and doesn't look too good. To avoid any of that, you're going to want to do your own cropping. And I suggest doing it even before you upload it to your site. If you get like a free editor, you can get one even online through Google. You can even get one through Canva or in Photoshop. So that way you can edit the photo to the specific size that fits well inside of your blog post, and that scales well for mobile, and even for retina displays, if you're all into that and you understand what that means. Find the happy medium that can do simple scaling. You don't want to have something that has tons and tons and tons of resolution. Then your site and your browser has to crunch it down. Alternately, it's also going to make your site load slower. So the easy way to do this is crop the image once well. Anything over 45 megabytes, you really need to be scaling it down. That's going to help you greatly to see some not bloated, and to see your site, your post not being bloated, and to also see your posts fit well, the image to fit well. So for all of those things, I use Photoshop. You can use Canva. I'm sure there's an editor even online you could use. Even I think Google has one built into the drive where you can simply edit some of the photos that you have. And lastly, number three, add alternative text to every single image. I know it takes some time to do these things, but these little details make a very big difference cumulatively over time, and with all of them together, you're going to see a better result. So if this is like super important, like for ranking. So your alt text, or for people that are maybe visually impaired, but also it helps provide context for the search engine like Google, so that the right image shows up in Google Images. And when someone says, well, if this image is talking about this topic, the content or the words must also be talking about this topic. And so it helps drive traffic. So if you're looking for your ranking to go up, every single image you have needs to have a image. Every image that you have needs to have an alternative text to it, right out the context of what's happening inside there. Excuse me, just gotta get a little sip of water here. Number 3, for getting your SEO to rank number 1, format the content for readability. I touched on this before. Another must do for SEO formatting for blog posts is readability. These are top considerations for people in search engines to read and understand your post easily. You have to consider who is going to be reading this. It's humans, right? So we like to read things in chunks, in paragraphs. Those of you who have written essays or read essays, pretty much everybody will understand. If you have just long, massive sentences and paragraphs stacked on top of each other, it's not an enjoyable read. So this is where you can break up the pace of where you want to place in your image, your different paragraph breaks, how long your sentence structure is, using your pull quotes. All these different things help have an enjoyable experience for the reader. And that's what you really want. You want them to spend more time on your site, more time reading your blog posts, not only so that they gain more information, but they enjoy their time that they're there. This is a great place for me to learn something in the industry or the topic that I'm interested in. Above all, be consistent. Okay, your double spaces or single spaces between paragraphs, bullet points, whether you're going to have them one time or dashes the next time or numbers the other time. Keep it consistent throughout the post. So if this is, again, if you're using WordPress, which this is all about using WordPress for this talk, using the built-in formatting tools are going to be your best bet. Making your H1 or your title identified inside of WordPress and using your H2, your H3s, using the bullets. WordPress has the formatting tools laid out very easily so that when you're typing all of these things out, it's very easy for you to go to the next thing and to the next thing and to the next thing. That's what's going to help Google understand what are the sub points to your main point. And we're going to talk more about your meta title and your meta description, and these subpoints help support those, and that's what you really want to be doing. You want to be consistent throughout the post on how you're doing it. Formatting consistency keeps things looking neat and tidy, not to mention easier to read. The readability is going to be way higher. So fix your formatting, remove the double spacing after periods, add more paragraph breaks, and we're going to talk about a tool that will even help you with your sentence length to see that you're having, again, a good readability score. That's number 3. Number 4, add easy one-click social sharing codes. For me, Twitter is like my number 1 platform, that and LinkedIn. For engagement, I use the platforms to help grow a solid social media presence and audience. So knowing that Twitter is like my hot platform, we choose to use a plugin that pulls a quote and allows me to tweet it. So for you to do that, you got to know which platform that you're going to be doing this for. Don't just do all of them. Some of them still even show, some of these social sharing plugins even still show like Google Plus and stuff like that. So pick specific things that you know will share well. Like if you have a great presence on Facebook, then have know your platform that is okay, image first, then you're going to have a great headline, all these different things. Add a plugin to your blog post that allows you to add the manual shortcodes for every blog post to make sharing super easy. That's going to be huge. You can also avoid sharing the click the tweets too early in a blog. So if you click to share something and it's right after the first or second paragraph, it doesn't help your readability score. So you want to have it maybe 1/3 down and then another one near the end, or maybe 2/3 down. That's going to be much better for your readability. Don't do it right away. Get people into the flow as to what they're reading. Let them see exactly what the topic and how you are going to help them, and then show them maybe a pull quote that they can share online. Number 5, check your links. I've been caught off guard by this many times. Sometimes I'm just writing and I'm in my writing mode, and what ends up happening is I'll say, hey, click here for this, with the intention of me going back and adding a link there. And because it does not pull, because it doesn't show up inside of Grammarly or show up inside of a spell checker, it goes undetected. But if somebody is looking for information and you show them great secondary or follow-up information and it doesn't work, now you're kind of losing all of that trust that you've just built up. You are garnering trust as you go along this blog post, that you are somebody in your field that understands, who's passionate, who's knowledgeable, who is authoritative in this space. But if you start making simple mistakes like having spelling mistakes that we talked about, or having links that don't work, or links that take them away to a different page, links that take them away from your page without opening up in a new tab, you start to not seem like a professional, somebody who's authoritative, somebody who is knowledgeable. So for every link in your blog post, whether it points to another site or links internally to one of yours, make sure it works. Double check it. Broken links are a big no-no. After that, make sure all links are pointing off-site and are set up to open a new browser. That way they won't be directing readers off-page. And they have more options that way, right? If you're a reader and it automatically opens in another page, I know I can just bookmark that and continue reading where I'm going. Or if it takes me away completely, now it's like I got to make a decision. I don't want to forget this, but I also want to go back and finish it. Or I might forget to finish the blog post and we won't get to your CTA, which we'll talk about in a moment. To edit a link in WordPress, just click the link text and you'll see the toolbar there. You can hit the edit button and add whatever words you want to be a link. And that's very simple. Again, use the WordPress editor. It is geared for writers as well as for your simple SEO maintenance and optimization. So that way you'll be able to get those results that you're looking for. So use the WordPress editor that's built inside of WordPress. Number 6, you include a call to action. After you've checked the links, scroll to the end of your blog and make sure to use a CTA, a call to action. You got to have one at least for every single blog post. And if you already have a blog post that is ranking well, then this is where you're going to want to maybe go back and add a specific one. I know a lot of people that add a generic call to action, which could be like a little box or image above the comments, like right at the end of the post before the comment section. What happens with that is it becomes very dated. And every time I read a post, I don't want to hear about your About Us page or your pricing. But if you have, and as this, again, it helps as you go along in your journey of writing consistently, you'll start to have auxiliary posts or content that can be linked to your main or signature content. So if you have a very strong post that ranks really well, that is already getting good views, that already has a good audience, then you want to make sure that your call to action at the bottom is something that's related. So if you're writing about running and running shoes, well, maybe you could write about different exercise for training in off season for running. And that can give your reader homework, like this is what you should be doing after this. And if you have a product related to this is where you would have that specific product related to the topic that you're talking about, and that way they'll know what is my next step. So your call to action helps you capture the trust you've built up and leads the reader into a marketing life cycle where they can kind of feel that, okay, I'm being nurtured here, I'm being taken care of here. And that's going to help me move forward in trusting this person, and they're going to be a great resource for me in what I'm doing. So number 7, we've reached the last couple of steps of the blog for search and to how to rank for number 1. This is where people start to get maybe a little bit lazy, get a little tired. Don't kill it. These last 2 things are the most important, and that's why I've put them at the end so we can emphasize them a little bit more. And they also are the ones that will garner you the most results. And that is your metas, all of your metadata, your meta title, your meta description. These things are extremely important. So your meta title will show up in a Google search result. So make sure it includes your focus keywords, so terms you want to rank for, signals right away, and as well as your meta description may or may not, depending on how the search is formulated, show up in search results with Google, but it's important for you to create one that's the right length, properly summarizes what the topic is of the post, include your focus keywords, all of that. And a great way to encapsulate and to do all of that is through a plugin called Yoast Seo. So Yoast Seo gives you a lot of options to help, or a lot of tools rather, to help you optimize your SEO title. Some people also call it like your H1, your header or your first header, your URL slug. This is like a short string of words that will shorten your URL, so it's not like, yourcompany.com/post 9672114. You can have something that's relevant, so it's easier, and as well as your description, which is a short summary up to like 158 characters of what the page or the blog is about. This is a great to use the focus words in the description to put the most important thing at the beginning. So Yoast has a lot. It's a free tool. Now, there's also, you can go a whole deep dive on Yoast itself and how it can help optimize every one of your pages as well as your blog posts. But they also sell their own courses that you can do all of that with. This is just more generic. This is the free version of Yoast that you install. And once you install it, not only can you do all those things that I mentioned, your title, your description, and your URL, it also gives you a readability score, which allows you to then see if your paragraphs are too long, your sentence structure is too long, if the tone or the tense of your speech is inconsistent throughout. And that's all still part of the free version of it. So it's very powerful. And this is the part where not only are you going to help your search engine find you, you're going to help match the search engine findings with the readers who are looking for those things. And that's really what Bing and Google and all the other search engines are really trying to do. So this is where we go all the way back up to the caveat I had at the beginning, that you need to treat your blog post like a search result. What do you think people are going to be looking for? And is the space already crowded? So find a unique approach so that you can cut through and rank if you want to be number 1. If that's what you want to be on the homepage, or if you want to be the number 1 ranking for a certain topic, you need to write around the topic, write good content, and make sure that you are using your keyword marketing and SEO marketing to help you garner which type of readership you want to have, so that you can kind of circumvent the other people who may have those positions of authority. So again, that's a whole other webinar, but this is more for people that are looking to just start. And again, Yoast is one of those things that you're going to be like, how did I ever live without Yoast? How did I ever not have this helping me publish and post my blog posts? And again, this is free. Get the plugin and add it to your site. Now, lastly, number 8, it's also within Yoast, and it's optimize your blog post for social sharing. Yoast can actually do that. I know people sometimes forget that you can do these things inside of Yoast. So ensure the right image is shared with your post on social media by completing this part right here. So it's especially important if you created custom share-worthy graphics, or if you created custom click to tweet or click to share different segments, pull quotes. Inside of Yoast, you can click on the right-hand side, social sharing, the icon, skip over the title and the description field because they will pull it from your main description field and put that and scroll to the Facebook or the Twitter image and upload a custom image for sharing. So again, this is where you might want to do a little research and Google social sharing Twitter image size or Facebook social sharing image size. Get the specific image, do your own cropping, and crop an alternative image other than your featured image, or crop your featured image for sharing specifically so that you can change the composition so it matches and looks right for when somebody shows it on on Facebook or on Twitter or even on LinkedIn. So make sure the image that you use has, again, alt text and title specific. So just like before, your alternative text is crucially important for providing the context of which this image is in. Not only does it do that, but it also helps people that are disabled who might be blind and need to know what is happening inside, a description of what's happening inside. This step keeps all of your social sharing looking snazzy and professional, no matter who they share the post with. So this can be the difference between 0 clicks and a lot of clicks. So don't miss out on these minor things that make a very big difference. And again, so all of these different steps are super, super important, and they seem very basic, but combined over a long period of time, writing content that is helpful, knowledgeable, and positions you as an authority in this topic will allow you to be garner some trust from your readership and allow you to rank number one. And this is, I'll read them off one more time. Number one, edit and proofread your blog post. Number two, add relevant images to your blog. Number three, format the content for readability. Number four, add easy one-click social sharing codes. Number five, check your links. Number six, include a CTA. Number seven, add all your metadata. And number eight, optimize your blog for social sharing inside of Yoast. So just to recap, just publishing your blog is not enough. SEO, if you want the SEO to work well, the optimization, you need to take care of these small pieces of the puzzle. And your blog, it may seem like a lot of work, but your blog will thank you for it. Instead of each step is essential for making your content the best version of itself. So attention to detail. The devil is all in the detail. A sharp eye and a few extra minutes, and that's really going to be the difference maker between having a mediocre post that a few people see or a dynamic post that hundreds and thousands of people will see. And with anything, when you're talking about traffic, it's a long game. So you need to publish regularly and have good content over a long period of time, and then you will start to see that growth chart going up. But for the first little bit, you'll see it flatline as Google does not know who you are and you don't have an authoritative stake inside this topic or this industry. So I hope that this has been helpful for you guys. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Like I promised you, we would only be 30 minutes or less, and we're just under 30 minutes. If you have any questions, go ahead, throw them in the chat. I'm also adding I'm just going to add my Calendly link if that's something that you guys are looking for, if you want to set up a call, if you need help with something. So go ahead and you can use that. And if you are interested in getting this free guide, I'm just finishing compiling it. And that, again, could be the difference in you doing these things and reminding you and to do all these things. You can sign up for it right here. I'm adding it to the chat as well. So thanks again for all of you guys. If you have a question, go ahead and post it before I end the chat. You got like 1 minute and we can talk about it real quick. Otherwise, feel free to follow me on social media and you can find me there. All right, y'all. Thank you so much once again for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.